Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And as we say on this channel quite a lot, the police are not your friends. And there's one in particular who is a nasty bit of work. His name is Stephen Hardy. He's from Greater Manchester Police, and he's just been found guilty of committing the R of a 12-year-old girl, not once, but repeatedly over a period of many years. Why he thinks he can get away with it, who knows? Perhaps it's just the blue uniform. It does seem to attract the very worst kind of people. Well, he's being convicted. He's going to go to prison, hopefully for a very long time. And let's hope that the inmates, wherever he is, showing him a very warm welcome, both for being an ex-policeman and also for the terrible crime he committed. Let's hope that his days are filled with lots and lots of enjoyable experiences for him. Enjoyable for us, that is. Maybe not so much for him. Anyway, we'll take a look at this article, see what he's done, see why he's going away, and let's hope that he never, ever gets out of prison. Here goes. So, of course, it's one of these videos where I do 2-3 of these a week saying how awful the police are. And then people say, oh, you can't blame all policemen. No, you can't blame all policemen. But the fact that I'm having to do so many of these goes to show that the police are suspect in so many ways. Why? Why am I constantly doing stories about the awful things that police do? Because it's not, of course, just the ones that are doing these things. It's all those police that aren't standing up and blowing the whistle and saying this guy's doing it. You can't tell who's a good cop or who's not, and until you can, you've got to treat them all a bit suspect, which is why I say never be alone with them. Always have witnesses. Always record any information. If ever you're stopped by a policeman, whip your phone out and start recording. You know, make sure that they know you're recording. That way they can't do things to you. They are awful people. This one is worse than most. Greater Manchester Police, and it makes a change, it's Greater Manchester and not the Met. But anyway, Greater Manchester Police Detective Stephen Hardy, 46, is found guilty of R-ing a 12-year-old child in a horrific spate of abuse that took place over 8 years. Stephen Hardy, 46, always denied the sickening abuse over 8 years, but Hardy has now been found guilty of committing this crime of sexual assault and of other offences. So a former Greater Manchester Police detective has been found guilty of R-ing a 12-year-old child. He's a P. Stephen Hardy, this P, can't say the words too early in the video, was found guilty of R, sexual assault, and causing a child to engage in sexual activity between 2012 and 2020. Hardy, who will be sentenced on the September the 11th, always denied 20 charges of sickening sexual abuse, Liverpool court had heard. Joel Palmero, Senior Crown Prosecutor for CPS Northwest's R and Serious Sexual Abuse Unit, said Hardy was in a position of trust and manipulated his victim. Because they do, don't they? They use that power they have, where they get that uniform, where they get that warrant card, whatever they have. They use the fact that they're policemen to do this. They are trained to look for vulnerable people. They find them and they use them. And he took a 12-year-old child and used that child for his own pleasure. Well, let's hope that he has a lot more sex in the very near future. I think it would be fair enough to say that he deserves it. What a nasty piece he is. She said Stephen Hardy gained the trust of the child before subjecting them to the sickening sexual abuse with no thought for the lasting damage his abuse would cause. And there he is. Let's all have a good look at him. Let's all see what he is. We know what he is. He's a P. He's an R. He's a child abuser. He is going to jail. And let's hope it's a short sentence. A very short. I don't care what the judge gives him. Let's just hope he's not in prison for very long. If you get my drift. Hardy was a police officer in a position of trust who manipulated and controlled his victim. Detective Sergeant Abigail Thomas of Greater Manchester Police Major Incident Team, who led the investigation into Hardy, said Stephen Hardy has been exposed as a manipulative individual who committed abhorrent offences over a significant period of time. His behaviour and actions go against everything we stand for within policing. Well, you say that, and yet here I am doing yet another video about these kinds of things. Tackling physicality against women and girls is one of the force's top priorities, she said, and anyone found within the organisation to be abusing their position to harm others can expect to face the consequences. Yes, but it's not very rare. We only hear about, I only do the videos about the ones that are caught. And if these are only the ones that are caught, how many are doing it and not yet caught? And that's the problem. There's so many. We only hear the few that are actually caught. She said, I hope this investigation and sentencing reassures the public that we do treat allegations of this nature extremely seriously and will not shy away from pursuing criminal charges against officers if they're deemed to have acted unlawfully. It doesn't reassure me. Just because you caught this one doesn't mean that you haven't caught the other 9 or 10 that are in your force doing the same thing. It doesn't reassure me because it's every week I'm doing 2 and 3 of these videos. None of this reassures me. It doesn't reassure me that the Met alone has over 1,000 officers being investigated just for sexual misconduct. That doesn't reassure me. She said, I commend those who've assisted with our investigation. I would like to encourage anyone else who's either been a victim or who has witnessed or is aware of abuse or criminal activity taking place to come forward and speak to us and we can take action. If you took action against all of the police doing crimes in the police forces up and down the country, you'd be left with very, very few policemen, patrolling. I mean, you'd lose half your force. It's that bad. We can see how many. Thousands upon thousands of police just for sexual crimes. Never mind the other stuff. Unbelievable. Anyway, I shall round up and come up, but I hope come September the 11th this guy gets 20 years, 25 years, something like that, and let's hope he does a very short part of that. Anyway, I'm coming up here now. So there we go, another wonderful policeman off to jail because he can't keep his hands off children. There's an awful lot of them. We reported recently about the one that actually hanged himself, an inspector that did that because he didn't want to go to jail for doing similar things with all images, pictures of very young people, that kind of thing. Police seem to be overly represented, when it comes to those guilty of these kind of crimes. And I think it's because the people attracted to the police and the uniform and the power are those that are also attracted to that sort of privilege that those things give you, and they think they can use being one to get away with the other. Thankfully we keep catching them, but we're not catching them fast enough, and there's a lot of damage done before they are finally caught, which is a shame for the children involved. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, you cannot trust any policeman unless you know better. Bye.